Hey everybody, I'm Grandmaster Ben Feingold. This is 5 Minutes with Ben, and I'm Ben. I forgot the opening, it was too tough. I can't remember everything all the time. Okay, this video is going to be about 10 minutes because this is part 2 of our mating with bishop and knight, and this is the complicated one. So if you haven't watched the first video yet, stop watching this video, go watch part 1. It's called Easy. This one is difficult. Okay, and we're going to start with the same position we had the last video. And in that video, we did this. And you've watched that video because I told you to. So don't watch this video first. Watch the other video first. And you'll remember when we got to this position, I discussed the 2 moves black could make. And we looked at king c8. And we showed how white wins. You watch that video. You watch it again. You watch it again. You try to do it, and eventually you'll be able to mate with bishop and knight, just like you have king and queen versus king. It's just as easy. If you don't know how to mate with a queen, then it'll be even easier than with a queen. I don't know if that's true. Okay, this is the complicated one where black correctly plays king e8. Now, you move your king to d6, you run your king over. If they play king to d8, that actually transposes back to our other video. So king to f7 is the best move. The king wants to run away on the white squares. We use the knight to defend the white squares and the bishop to defend the dark squares. The king goes here, trying to run away. We play bishop e3, stopping the king from running away. The king has to go back. Now we play bishop to g5. The bishop and the knight and the king control all of these squares. Black plays king to e8, trying to run back to the wrong corner. And now we want to take our knight on e7. This is probably the toughest thing you're going to do, and put it on e5. And you have 2 ways to do it. And it's equally good. One's not better than another. You can do either one. You can play knight here and go to e5, or you can play knight here and go to e5. I'm going to play knight here, but it doesn't matter. The king moves away. Now the knight and the bishop control all these squares. The king tries to run away from the right corner. Now we use our king to force the king away. The king has to go here because there's no other legal move. Then we move our king opposite the other king. The king has to run into the corner. We get opposition. If black had played king g8, we would play king e8, getting the opposition, and we would get the same position. And now here, we play bishop h6, and basically we're done doing anything complicated. We're going to have the bishop on h6 or f8. It stops the king. The king stopped from getting out. The king is now forced into being on the 2 squares. These 2 squares, if black moved forever, black would just make those 2 moves. And now we win simply by putting our knight on f6. As long as knight f6 is check, you win. It's either going to be check or checkmate. It depends what move order black plays. After king h8, after king h7, we play, it doesn't matter, you can play knight to d7, you can play knight to g4, doesn't matter, we're trying to play knight f6. I'll play knight to d7, doesn't matter. Now here, knight f6 is not check, it's stalemate. Don't play stalemate, no. So when knight f6 is check, play knight f6 check. When knight f6 isn't check, play bishop g7 check, and then play checkmate. And if knight f6 was check, then bishop g7 would be checkmate. It's the same position. If the king is here or the king is here, it's checkmate. And let's look at that again, because this is the hard one. This is the difficult one. It's tougher than the last puzzle. And the starting position is this one. In the last video that I made, we played king to c8, and I showed you how to checkmate with bishop and knight. The more difficult way to win is with king to e8. Now we play king to d6. The king moves away. We stop the king from going to the square, which I put an arrow at, by playing knight to e7. That's one of the key moves. Now we stop the king from going to the square I put a diagonal on with bishop e3. Now we stop the king from going to f6 with bishop g5. And now we put our knight on e5. It doesn't matter which way you do it. Knight c6 or knight g6. The knight's going to e5. And the knight on e5 and the bishop on g5 control all the squares the black king wants to go to. And now we use our king and we force the black king into the corner. The black king is shoved into the corner. It doesn't matter which way he goes. We looked at king g8. And once you can play bishop h6, you have the king trapped into the corner completely. And the final nail in the coffin is to play king f7. So the black king only has two squares, the two corner squares. And king f7, we got everything we wanted. And in this position, knight f6 is stalemate. Don't do that. If knight f6 is check, because the black king is on h7, then you play knight h7 check, king h8, bishop g7 mate. Since the king's on h8, you don't play knight f6 stalemate, you check. And I showed you this mate. If you don't like that mate, you can play this mate. That's also fine. Nothing wrong with that. But this position is mate whether the king is on h8 or h7. It's still checkmate. That's how you checkmate with bishop and knight when the king is in the wrong corner of your bishop. You can't checkmate them in that corner. When the black king is on a8, we have to force him either to h8 or to a1, which is the same thing. Just turn your head slightly, and you can win. And the key positions to know, key position number one is this. Well, key position number one is this position. This is key position one. This is key position two. Black can move either way. If black plays king c8, that's video one. That's the easy video. If black plays king e8, that's video two. That's this video. And I showed you all you need to know to checkmate the black king. And when I was told to mate with bishop and knight against women's grandmaster Dina Balankaya, she gave me 30 seconds and I did it in 19 seconds because I was tired that day. So when I mate with bishop and knight, I do it in a few seconds because I know exactly what to do. And if you do this over and over again and you see the same things over and over again, then you can do it too. And all you have to remember, whether black plays the easy way for you or the difficult way, is don't stalemate at the end. At the very end, make sure that your move isn't stalemate, then you'll never draw by accident. Hopefully that was less than 10 minutes. And if you watch video one and video two, I would watch them 2 or 3 times. I don't care what your rating is, you can mate with bishop and knight. If you're rated 800 and you have trouble mating with a rook, you can still mate with bishop and knight. Just watch videos 1 and 2 over and over and you'll be able to do it. You'll surprise yourself. It's not that difficult. I can do it in a few seconds. You can do it by watching the videos and learning how to do it. I'm Grandmaster Ben Feingold. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time with more At Least 5 Minutes with Ben. Bye.